Season of Discovery Priest. From an absolute meme that wears dresses to an absolute meme killing machine that still wears dresses, priests have been shafted forever. But now, they are rightfully the most broken S tier class that will ever come to Season of Discovery. Are you ready for this? I hope you are.
Priest in vanilla World of Warcraft was a class that had its identity cut in half. On one side you have the Light, where you played as a healer. This was an area where the priest excelled. Their wide talk.
You have two wolves inside you. And that's already bad because that probably means you're a furry.
Kids covered strong single target heals, heals over time, and even AoE heals. And where there is light, there must be shadow.
I haven't seen a single priest use Holy Nova in a single raid that I have been in. And I'm Horde, so you know, there's only priests pretty much. Oh man, that's questionable.
However, this side of the priest toolkit found way less viability in vanilla. Shadow had a lot of problems between debuff caps, general damage output, and of course a mana bar, which will be...
I tried leveling as Shadow, and I quickly understood, and I was so happy that I finally got my Mind Flay. And the first time I clicked it, I was like, wow, this is... I wish I never played Priest. Wow, this is beyond disappointing. My ancestors are watching from above and cursing my name because I'm such a disappointment that I thought that Mind Flay was actually gonna be good. It's pain.
Spent within the space of a minute. So suffice to say, I'm interested to see how they're going to build on Priest's healing identity in Season of Discovery, but Shadow is what really needs the most help to see more widespread gameplay. Also, it appears you may now be able to choose which Priest racial abilities you...
Ooh. Who's not gonna pick the... what's it called? Plague.
Want. There have been several new buffs found called Secrets of a Race Name and Anointed by a Race Name, which connect with the races which priests can be.
Yeah, everyone's gonna take the Secrets of Undead because this is the plague. Well, what's it called? It's some kind of plague. Holy plague, unholy blight, I think, or something like that. Yeah, that's the one everyone's gonna want for damage. Or maybe Starfall? I'm not sure. Do people use it? I have never seen it.
Of course, being Night Elf, Undeath, Undead, Light, Human or Dwarf, and Lower Troll. I can tell you right now, Dwarf is going to be pretty popular if this is indeed a racial swap. But maybe new synergies appear that favor a different...
Well, yeah, Fear Ward is obviously pretty good, but it's super lame, so I would suggest no one ever use it.
Race. Maybe Star Shards from Night Elf becomes overpowered. Who knows? So with that being said, let's make a start on the runes which are currently known for the priest. And we'll begin with the chest runes. First up is Strength of Soul, making your single target casted heals reduce the remaining duration on Weakened Soul by 4 seconds. Weakened Soul is of course that debuff you get when you power word shield someone.
That's absolutely broken in PvP, wow.
It lasts 15 seconds normally, so more or less after getting 2 single target heals, this debuff with Strength of Soul will have nearly fallen off. Now in PvP this is very strong, but in PvE and vanilla, our word shield...
Yeah, well, it's useless because the shield doesn't break.
Shield isn't anywhere as near as good as it is in Wrath. Also, warrior and druid tanks cannot generate rage from damage taken if damage is being absorbed. Don't forget about that in vanilla as well. If you wanted single target heals on a tank, you'd probably still just downrank a different spell, not use Power Word Shield on cooldown. This is good in PvP though, no doubt about that. Next is Serendipity, a very modified version of it at that. Your flash heals reduce the cast time of your next single target heal or Prayer of Healing by 20% for 20 seconds, stacking up to 3 times. I don't know if this really...
I mean, it's useful, I guess, but how actually useful it is, probably not that much. This is like PvP.
It changes how much you go about playing the priest as a healer though. Flash heal is a good emergency cast if somebody needs healing as soon as possible, but it's also quite expensive because of this. Still, even if you are throwing out the odd flash heal here and there, it will be making your next big heal go out that bit faster. Maybe it's not that bad in PvE actually, it's just runes which speed up gameplay, can often
Isn't Flash Heal like the best heal in PvP though?
lead to mana issues. Next is Void Plague. The mum, can we have Vampiric Touch? No, there is already Vampiric Touch at home of damage over time
Hey, at least there's something.
effects. Not sure whether it's casted as Vampiric Touch has been either, we can't really tell at this early stage. Either way, it should be another good way for Shadow Priest to run out of mana. Sorry, I mean deal damage. Could also be good on single target, and is more AoE friendly or cleave focused than the other runes on this row. Next is Twisted Faith, a talent that first appears in Cataclysm. It makes Mind Blast and Mind Flay deal 20% increased damage to a target with Shadow Word Pain. A pretty simple single target DPS increase. Don't forget in vanilla, Mind Blast generates bonus threat, because why not? That's vanilla for you.
That's so true.
So make sure the tank has some threat built up, because if a buffed Mind Blast crits on your first few globals, that could cause problems. Onto the leg runes now, and we begin with a very familiar spell, which has been a central part of the priest's healing toolkit ever since the Burning Crusade. That is Prayer of Mending. Sends out a heal that will proc the next time the target takes damage, then we'll jump to a party or raid member and repeat the effect up to 5 times. Another solid PvP tool for the priest right here. For PvE,
Is it actually a PvP tool?
he also
I
seems
mean, you can cast it on yourself in PvP and then you get hit and then it heals you, but I mean, that's not nothing to be, too happy about.
quite nice. It's not uncommon for tanks and the melee group to be taking a few hits at the same time. I think this is going to be a very efficient heal on a bunch of encounters in Classic, and depending on the mana cost, you may be pressing this off of cooldown. Next is a totally new spell, Homunculi. Break off 3 miniature copies of yourself that attack the current target, reducing their attack speed, attack power, and armor. It's kind of like Shadow Fiend really, but with more of a utility focus for the priest. I wonder how strong these debuffs are too. If we're talking a single target ability that applies debuffs such as Thunderclap for the attack speed slow, Demo Shout for the attack power reduction, and some form of Sunder Armor, that's going to be really powerful. And I'm just saying, these new tanking specs in Season of Discovery do not have these core tanking debuffs themselves, so maybe a priest is going to be expected to fill that gap. Or maybe it's just a bit of extra damage and some token debuffs which are better than nothing. The tuning of this...
Well, we're gonna see if it's good. Also, remember one thing, in Season of Mastery, well, we're getting to level 25 first. That's not a lot, okay? And the end game is still level 60, by the way. It's just the early games are going to be a little bit longer and more drawn out and more interesting. But, we don't know how good any of this is going to be at level 60. And probably something, this is most likely going to be the situation for every class, right? Probably something that seemed absolutely underwhelming at like level 10 or 25 is going to be completely busted at level 60. That's probably going to be the thing that happens as always here.
Ability will really impact how good it will be. Next is Shared Pain. Your Shadow Word Pain also hits up to 2 other targets within 15 yards. Wow. This rune is pretty great though. Shadow Priest has always had problems dishing out, well, any form of multi-target damage whatsoever in vanilla. Shadow Word Pain does some okay damage too, so being able to have this instantly applied to 3 targets seems good. I do wonder how it will work though. Say you have 5 targets that are stacked and you Shadow Word Pain one of them twice. Will all 5 have the debuff, or will it just be 3 and if you hit anything else, you got lucky? I do need to see this rune in action to really understand how it works.
True.
But at face value for multi-target content or for dungeons, it seems quite powerful. And very mana efficient too. The final leg rune we have is Power Word Barrier. This is taken from Cataclysm, and over the years has been a super impactful tool for priests to mitigate damage. But in vanilla, it has one big difference. It is party-wide only, and I'm assuming it will always affect the priest who casts it, and 4 other players. I can already see people needing to move the priest to barrier the tank party on raid frames, and then moving them back.
Yeah, that's not probably happening. People are still gonna die to Kel'Thuzad's... The Frost Stew mechanic is stupid, okay? You need an add-on to deal with it. People are just gonna die. There's nothing you can do. Because even if you have 8 healers, you're still dealing with the RNG that maybe not all the healers are targeting one guy.
Back to a party where there's more mana regen going on. TBC group-wide buffs, how I do not miss you. All the same, it's 25% less damage and no spell knockbacks for 10 seconds. Even if it is only on 5 players, that's still very strong in PvE and PvP.
Well, PvE, this is gonna be amazing for tanks and hard pulls for sure.
Also, don't forget these runes can be applied to any specialization. Everyone's going to think barrier is a healer thing, but if you're a shadow priest, you can still pick this up if you want. Finally, we have the glove runes, starting with Shadow Word Death, and this is the Burning Crusade version, which means it's not strictly an execute and can be cast on enemies however much health they have. It also reflects full damage back to the priest. Imagine a fully well-buffed priest one-shotting themselves. Pro tip, don't press this button on Thaddeus when we get to Nax. But Shadow Word Death is a very high skill capability in PvP, where you can predict incoming CC effects and use the ability to break them, and in PvE it's just another damage tool really. Next is another Burning Crusade spell, Circle of Healing.
Wow. Yeah, no one's using Holy Nova anymore, are they? It's just gone. There's no need.
Actually Prayer of Healing, but it's instant cast, and it's party-wide. If I remember from TBC, you could empty your mana bar incredibly fast pressing this button a few times, as it didn't have a cooldown. This one's going to be very encounter dependent. You need entire parties getting hit by consistent damage for this to be worth choosing. And at the moment,
there are some fights. Oh, what's the bug? What's the bug? Noxermus? No. I forgot even what's the bug raid called. It was after Blackwing Lair. Black Wind Lair. I don't know. Is it Blackwing or Black Wind Lair? No idea. Anyway, that one, the bug one. There are some encounters and situations where that's useful at the bare minimum, so that's kind of nice.
a couple fights that fit that description in Classic.
Yeah, also this one, obviously.
But time will tell as for what the updated raiding content
No, it's not really needed. Everyone has a frost pot.
will provide. Next we have Penance, and Penance is a really powerful spell.
Finally, Penance. Penance is going to be the big game changer for leveling up priests, probably, because this thing is going to deal decent holy damage. You can start using it at start of the fight and then start wanding, and bam! Look at that, baby. You're probably full mana by the end of the encounter.
Introduced in Wrath of the Lich King. It can target either allies to heal them or enemies to deal damage. It's very efficient at performing both roles and is just a good button to be pressing off of cooldown. In vanilla though, spell healing and spell damage are 2 different stats, so you're not really going to be getting full value out of Penance all of the time. Still, I think as a PvPer or just a healing focused priest in general, this will probably be the rune you're taking on your gloves. Last but not least is another great AoE tool for Shadow in Mindseer.
Wow.
This is the Wrath version, meaning you have to have an enemy present to use it, and you can't channel it on allies as you could in Kata. Still, it will give the priest a real button to press when there are many enemies in front of them. And combined with Shared Pain, Shadow Priest is going to go from a bit of a zero to a hero on AoE. Also, with all these various updates to Shadow's damage dealing, can I just say when you fully talent out Vampiric Embrace, that it causes 30% of your damage dealt to heal your party. So yeah, the priest party should be looking pretty healthy. So then we'll finish up on thoughts on the priest so far.
Well, there's gonna also be buffs that are coming in the form of changed talents, improved talents, and things like that. So, this is gonna be amazing, probably, right?
First up, if you are a PvP enjoyer, it's kind of hard to believe just how much stronger this class has got. Between strength
Yeah, in PvP you're definitely going from a 0 to a hero.
of soul, power word barrier,
This is gonna be completely busted. This is probably gonna be useful.
and penance or shadow word death.
Penance is gonna... Yeah, Penance is just... Okay. Let me explain how Penance works in PvP. Oh, he's on 1 HP? Penance, and bam, he's on 250% HP. Yeah, you don't want to deal with Penance in PvP. Priests are gonna be absolutely broken for 1v1.
The priest is really spoilt for choice now. For PvE healing, there are definitely a few new toys that have been added, but ultimately they just give the priest a few more niche options on how to heal. They could already kind of do everything, and now they can just do everything, but a little bit better. Shadow?
Well, there's also gonna be other runes later on, so that's gonna make it even better, okay? So, this is only the beginning. And I kind of like the beginning because it's giving a lot of toys for every class that, you know, you previously didn't have but you wish you had.
Has certainly received.
No longer you will be the lost boy in the woods. Now you're gonna be the grown man making boys lost in the woods. It's gonna be great.
Some tools which will make them more relevant on the DPS meters, especially on AoE. I think Shadow Priest is going to be one of the better classes in the game when it comes to sustained cleave or AoE. There hasn't really been much in the way of helping out their whole mana bar situation though, and this was really a key concern I had from vanilla. Of course, we don't know the full story yet as to what all the runes will be, but if you are a Shadow Priest enjoyer, you should still want to see some improvements on the mana front. But those are just my impressions on the Priest in Season of Discovery at this very early stage. Let me know whether you're planning to try a Priest below.
Do Shadow Priests even really run out of mana in PvE encounters and raids? Do they? Or does everything just get killed in like roughly 30 seconds, so you don't need to worry about that? I never noticed it because no one ran a Shadow Priest when I was playing.
And what you think of them so far. And as always, thank you all so much for watching and listening in, and I'll see you on the next one very soon.
Nice one. Okay, Shadow Priest's looking absolutely spectacular. Really? Anyway, S tier class, S tier PvP Slayer. Well, we're gonna have to see because maybe, you know, hunters are gonna one-shot everyone from the stealth now, which is dumb. But, you know, we're gonna see how it is, right? Maybe rogues are gonna one-shot everyone because of reasons. Anyway, this was Citizen saying thanks for watching, subscribe if you haven't already, and have a nice day. Check out Billy out, and bye-bye.